Welcome to the best show about relationships. Become a free member on my website to get my free 1-hour video and free relationship advice and so much more. Subscribe and share this video with everyone you know, and let us go ahead and begin, shall we? All right, what do we have first on the chopping block? Things on dating profiles that make me immediately send someone left. All right. So she's going to say what kind of things make her reject someone. I'm just seeing what's out there. Okay, fair enough, because that implies that the person is just not as serious as they should be. Children, okay? That's a reasonable preference. You know, because they're not your children. It's not really selfish. That's legit. That's okay. Multiple dogs. One high energy dog. All right, that's another reasonable thing to ask. No dogs. It's pretty reasonable so far. Cigarette usage. Another reasonable one. Doesn't work out. Right? Okay. Yeah, sure. Everything's looking great so far, right? Flipping off the camera, so giving the middle finger to the camera. All right, so that could be seen as a sign of immaturity, pretty much. It looks like she wants somebody serious, right? Fishing, a boat. All right, so she doesn't like fishing. We're going on boats. Hunting / dead animal photos. All right, she doesn't like somebody who likes to go hunting. All right, you know, it's pretty legit so far, right? Politically moderate / conservative. Politics aren't important to me. All right. Well, you know, that's her preference. You know, politics. It looks like they're important to her, but you can't be moderate or conservative. I imagine you have to be liberal / democratic, right? So you can't be conservative / Republican. That's what I'm getting from the gist of it. Frequent alcohol use. All right, sounds like a great list. Those are her preferences. What could possibly go wrong, right? Do I have a lot of disqualifiers? Yes, because I am comfortable on my own and recognize I do not need another person to be happy. All right, well, you kind of screwed the pooch with this one now, didn't you? Now you just ruined the entire list. Why even bother placing a list like this online in the first place? Why even bother? Seriously. See, now it's time for me to be serious, right? Because what you're saying here is that, you know, like, look how detailed the list is, right? What you're saying is, these are the disqualifiers. And by the way, you're posting this on social media. It looks like you're pretty serious. Now, I don't know if you're just looking for attention, but just think about what's really going on here. Hey, guys, these are the disqualifiers. I'm not interested in people that have to deal with any of this, right? These are the disqualifiers. Okay, so that means you're looking for people who qualify. Otherwise, you wouldn't have posted this. You're not on a dating app or on a dating site. You're on social media posting this. All right. So I don't know if you're trying to trigger people who do like fishing, going on boats and hunting, and who are conservative and who do consume alcohol. I don't know if that's the goal. You know, what do you have against children, yada yada? That's kind of cheap if you'd ask me, if it's just simple attention seeking behavior here. But from what I see, what the heck was the whole point of posting this? Because you're not on a dating site or a dating app. Understand? So here, this is a classic example of somebody who's living in denial, saying, I am comfortable. Okay, that could be true. On my own, and recognize, this is the false part, I do not need, and you see how that's put in quotes, another person to be happy. Okay, so if you do not need another person to be happy, why go through posting this on social media, which once again, it sounds like you're mighty desperate because you're not on a dating app, which is also ridiculous, or on a dating platform. and you're posting this, it sounds like you do need a man who doesn't have any of these disqualifiers. Look at it. It speaks for itself. It reads itself. It writes itself. If you do not need, in quotes, right? Because she's being sarcastic. Like, I don't need another person to be happy. Well, then why are you posting this? You literally just exposed yourself. 100%. So much detail. So many disqualifiers. Why? My question is just a 3-letter word. Why? It's so absurd. It really is. You really don't need another person to be happy, right? But you have to vent your offline frustration because clearly that's not the case. Because if you truly didn't need another person to be happy, you wouldn't post garbage like this. Because think about it. It is garbage. What's the use? What's the purpose? And why are you placing it on a platform that has nothing to do with dating? Are you hoping to find somebody on that platform to maybe respond and be like, hey, I don't have any of those disqualifiers. Am I a candidate? You think they're going to want to communicate with you after you said, well, I don't need another person to be happy? No, they're not. Because obviously they're not important to you. So what are you truly trying to look for? Somebody to mess around with that doesn't have any of these disqualifiers? You know, you really have to play detective here. This is like one of the strangest posts that I've seen on social media in so many years. Like, who actually does this? And the comments are going to be like, oh, yeah, they were pretty much saying, okay, all right, yeah, that's okay. Because these are reasonable disqualifiers. But you ruin the entire list with that, I don't need anybody to be happy. Well, then who's going to want to be with you? That's the only way to achieve happiness, is through the path of true love. Anybody saying they're happy living on their own is living in denial, 100%. And this is exacerbated. It's made even worse because you sat here writing this entire list. And you're like, things on dating profiles that make me immediately send somebody left. Why are you letting us know about what you found on dating profiles? Because it's not working out for you, is it? So you came to a social media platform to vent all of your frustration, your offline and online frustration, by not being able to find someone. And now you're living in denial by saying, well, you know what? It's not all doom and gloom because, you know what? I don't need a person anyway. Then why are you even using a dating app? And why are you even posting this? What a circus. What a clown. It really is. Oh my goodness gracious. And there's all kinds of posts like this. Let's go ahead and move on. I mean, talk about absolute ridiculousness. That's truly to laugh at. All right, so dating someone who naturally brings out your playfulness, makes you laugh, never stops flirting with you, and loves you with a little extra on the days you don't feel lovable. It makes you feel so incredibly safe and secure, and that only makes you fall even more in love. Wow. For once we have a very pleasant comment. That's absolutely correct. That's a very nice comment. You always have to be playful. There's a time to be mature and a little bit immature just to have some fun and good taste. And laughter's great as long as it's once again in good taste. And flirting, well, flirting is everything. The sexual energy is everything. Loves you a little extra. Yes, the love is supposed to grow. You're supposed to get to the point where you're worshiping your partner on a daily basis. And no arguments, because that's for immature people who don't know how to work through challenging situations, trying times. Makes you feel so incredibly safe and secure. Yes, and once again, growing the relationship. So she really emphasized that. Loves you a little bit more, fall even more in love. Extremely important. So well done. Yeah, kudos to you. I have to give credit where credit is due. That's what everybody on social media should be posting. Positive comments like that. Yes, you can go over negative situations, but don't be whining and complaining 24/7. There's way too much of that. It's just immature behavior at that point. Coping with the loneliness. All right. Last comment of the show: dating after 35 isn't hard because you're picky. It's hard because you finally understand the cost of choosing wrong. Yeah, it's not just monetary costs, losing money where she takes 50 and, 50% of everything you own after so many years together, depending on which state you live in, yada, yada. Yeah, I get that. There's a lot to lose, monetarily speaking. But a broken heart could last forever if you're not careful. It depends how you handle a broken heart. So, yes, there's a lot to lose. So, I do agree with this statement. But, however, you got to look a little bit harder with a bit of a magnifying glass here. So, dating after 35 isn't hard because you're picky. Actually, it is. Because if you're trying to avoid someone who can cost you by choosing wrong, then that's being picky, and rightfully so. And that's why it is difficult. So, your first half of the statement is not true. You're saying that, no, it's not because I'm picky, it's because of how much I have to lose if I choose the wrong person. Well, then that requires you to be picky now, doesn't it? And that makes it very difficult now, doesn't it? So you're kind of saying contradictory things here. 50-50 here. And after 35, well, I would say after 30, when you're just starting to really mature. Although not everybody starts to really mature at 30. But you should. You should be a grown man by age 30. You're not in your 20s anymore. Playtime's over. It's time to get serious. But unfortunately, many men and women, they don't get serious. And they have nothing wise or intelligent to show for it. After all their 20s. So they goof around for all their 30s. Before you know it, they find themselves living alone in their 40s and 50s in denial, saying they're happy when they know they're not. Every single day. Either to themselves or placing it on social media for everybody to pretty much know that you are lonely and miserable, unless they're also lonely and miserable and they'll agree with you. So then you have this type of confirmation by others by agreeing with you because they themselves are lonely and miserable, but they don't want to admit it. That's called living in denial. So yes, don't be too picky here because you're going to make it extra hard. But don't settle for anybody because you know how much you stand to lose. We're not just talking about monetary value here, okay? I understand. But that's why you have to know exactly how love is supposed to work. So take advantage of that by signing up on my website as a free member. You'll get access to my 1-hour video and so much more. When I say so much more, it's up to you to find out. Lots of freebies. So go find out. Otherwise, you're going to spend the rest of your life here, most likely, what this guy's saying, after age 35. It's going to be after age 45, after age 55. Before you know it, the buses have all left. You didn't get on any of the buses because you were too scared of choosing wrong. You got to wise up. Otherwise, you haven't really grown, have you? So if you made it this far, it's time to become a free member on my website. You'll get free relationship advice, free access to my 1-hour video, and so much more. Also, drop a comment with the topic that you'd like for me to go over in a future show. Much love, everybody.